Hey guys, for this week's video I am vlogging my experiences of Lyra Fest. Honestly, I have no idea how this vlog is going to turn out. I don't even like vlogging. What am I doing? This is Josie's vlog intro! Hey, it is future editing Josie and I am here to fill in the blanks of, quite frankly, some patchy vlogging at best. I'm going to be dipping into this video from time to time just to let you know how it goes. Anyway, let's get on with it. Here's day one. I painted my nails in the Lyra Fest colours to give me motivation, don't judge me, and I'm about to get ready and I'm going to cycle into town because I've realised that I'll be going into town every day for 5 days and that's £3 on buses, more if I get an Uber, and I don't want to spend £15 on work. That's rubbish. So I'm going to spend no money on cycling into town and making myself pack lunches. Packed dinners. Oh, it's going to be 5 evenings of sandwiches for dinner. Hello darkness, my old friend. Okay guys, about to do cycle number 1. I am already running late and it is rush hour. Wish me luck. I did not make it on time. I was late. I got lost. UOB is confusing. I didn't realise how much of North Bristol is taken up by the University of Bristol and it took me ages to find the lecture theatre. But luckily I was late from being early, but I was still on time. I found the place and I started doing all the social media, including letting know where people to come just in case they had the same issue I did. The lecture was super interesting and I got to sit with my friends, and Lucy English, who was my lecturer on the Masters last year, she provided the opening lecture. She introduced the opening lecture with explaining where the idea for Lyra Fest, which is Bristol Poetry Festival, I realised I probably didn't say that earlier. It actually all started when me and Lucy and Danny Pandolfi and Connor MacLeod were all at a gig in Wiltshire and we all had to stay over in this holiday home, and we were sat at a pub one night and Danny went, "Bristol should have a poetry festival, you know?" And we all went, "Yeah, that'd be great." And then, so they got to work on it, they applied for funding, and about a month before the festival started, I got drafted in to help with social media, and yeah, it was a really cool introduction to have that. It was quite nice to sort of ground us in how the lecture started. And then Ralph Pite started his lecture and we learnt about the history of poetry in Bristol, and especially about like the start of Romanticism with lyrical ballads, and it was really, really interesting. We also had some like science laid on us on the like spring equinox. And then after the lecture, we walked up the hill to the Square Club, which is in Berkeley Square, where Tom Sastry, our resident festival poet, did a reading. It was ace. After the reading, he did a workshop, which was amazing. Okay, that is day 1 done. Cycled home in my super cool high-vis jacket. Yes, queen, yes. Today went really well. The opening lecture was lush. I learnt loads. It was quite cool to revisit the romantic poets with Ralph Pite's lecture, which was really cool. And then we went to the Square Club for Tom Sastry's reading and workshop, and his reading was amazing. It was always going to be. He's a very talented poet and performer. He can take a room up and just bring it down straight away, and it's great. So that was really cool. And then we had to workshop where it was writing poetry as fiction and writing as a character, which is something that I'd never considered doing before, and now I've got this beginning of a poem which I'm really enjoying and really looking forward to writing. So if that poem does come to fruition and I share it, I'll be sure to remind you all that this is the one I wrote at Lyra Festival with Tom Sastry, which was really cool, and I had a great time, and I can already tell that this is shaping up to be a really good festival with really good vibes and such wonderful people. And yeah, it was really lush and it was good to see everyone, and I'm so excited for the next few days now. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Tonight I've got to put my bike away, have a shower and a hot chocolate, and then I'm off to bed. Hey, it is day 2 of Lyra Fest. Good morning! Okay, it's actually midday, but I did get up early and I have posted and put out all the updates for today. I have shared the amazing photos from last night taken by the wonderful Sam Cavender, and I have sorted all the paperwork for the slam on Saturday. So, super productive day already, and it's not even lunchtime. I have to be in town by 5, and yesterday I was running late, so I'm going to leave with plenty of time. I was also considering going for a run today because I wanted to keep my self-care levels up so that I would sleep well. But the truth is I've got a hell of a cold, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to still cycle. So I'm still going to cycle 8 miles today, so I feel like that's okay. But just not run. I'm going to stay in and keep warm and drink lots of tea and have a Barocca. I hate Barocca, but I'm definitely going to have some like cold and flu tablets. So last night Lucy was absolutely smashing it with her dress, being so colour coordinated for Lyra Festival. So I decided today that I'm going to try and outdo her and be more on brand than her. The only problem is that my hair massively clashes with the logo. But yeah, here we go. See, I've got my Lyra t-shirt on. I've got my matching shirt, you know. So this afternoon, I am going to be even more productive, and I'm going to finish printing off the paperwork that I need for Saturday, and I'm going to tidy my house. Oh.
Okay, so day 2 started with a workshop from Vanessa Casule, who is the Bristol city poet, and she ran a workshop all about writing for place, and this was really lovely and a great thing to explore. One of the first things we did was go outside and sit on the harbour side, and we had to list all of the things that we saw there, and it was really interesting. And then we had to pick one to write about. We also had to pick our favourite place in Bristol, and we had to edit stuff and really cut stuff out and bring it down to 3 lines, and that was amazing. That was really good. That's the sort of thing that I really like to do, and I enjoy that discipline of it. And so that was super cool to learn about. And the other thing we did was we learnt about the golden shovel, where you take a sentence from somewhere and those are your final words of all your lines. She made us write a golden shovel using local newspapers. I picked Bristol 24/7. They finally finished the new cycle track through town. Fragmented elements patched through the city has only added to the difficulty, weaving through cars or pedestrians. Same old shit. Make room for the engineless ones. Less of the cars, more of the rest of us who are trying to care for this world before it is taken, before we are all taken away. That was my golden shovel, and my quote was, "New elements are added or old ones are taken away." And it was from an interview with a electronic punk band. Anyway, so that was a really cool workshop. Then it was Raise the Bars night at the Arnolfini, and here's what I had to say about it.
Hey, it is day 2 is now over. I am outside the Arnolfini, and Raise the Bars event is done and I am blown away by the quality of poetry. Tom Slattery opened the evening promising to change the world by bringing the mood down. Spoken pencil. Well, Stephen Lightbound absolutely smashed it with his first gig with his new book, and it was beautiful. And he was so nervous, and he had us in the palm of his hand. He didn't need to be nervous, he was great. Shruti was amazing, she was so great and so nice to talk to as well. And just such craftsmanship with her words. And then we had a break, and then we came back, and Harry and Chris just smashed it and made me laugh and made me cry a tiny bit, but that was because of dad stuff, and it was great and I'm really excited. And yeah, happy National Poetry Day. Now I'm gonna cycle home all 4 miles up a hill. Wish me luck. Day 2. Signing off. Good night. Good morning. It is day 3 of Lyra Fest and this cold has stepped up. I'm waiting for the paracetamol to kick in. And we'll see how we go. I am tired. And I have a lot to do today before heading in. Today is the day I'm on a panel. I get to talk about what spoken word and page poets can learn from each other, and I've got to share one of my poems as a result, so we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, it is. I'm not going to let this cold beat me. I'm going to have some orange juice, I'm going to have some echinacea, I'm going to have all of the things my mum says helps, and we're going to beat this thing.
So, needless to say, day 3 was a struggle for me. I did manage to make it to the panel show, and I did manage to get out of my cycle gear, and I presented to it. And I think the panel show went really well, even if I wasn't feeling my best. People seemed really responsive to my poem, and the discussion was really interesting and valuable, and it was a great thing to talk about what we can learn from each other. Too often in contemporary poetry is spoken word and page poetry set up in opposition to each other, and actually it's all about tearing each other down, whereas this was about lifting each other up and acknowledging what we can learn from each other. So that was really awesome. So after the workshop we went to Waterstones for the readings, and it was really, really lovely. Tom Slattery put the whole thing together and sorted the lineup, and the Laureate's Choice people were really, really interesting, and the Nine Arches Press were really good. And I have to say that even though I set myself the goal of not spending too much money, I ended up buying 2 books. But then Joe Bell gave me the advice of having a whole year where you don't buy any new books, and I feel like that's going to have to be what I do. I might have to do that. I also treated myself to a Subway, which was delicious. And the event was wonderful. The readings were lovely, and it was quite nice to be sat in a bookshop and listening to poetry. It was delicious. Day 3 may be one of my favourites.
Hey, it's me. Day 3 done. I am super tired and my cold has stepped up a notch. So I'm going to bed, I'm watching Star Trek, and so I'm ready, willing and able to deal with the slam tomorrow. Wish me luck, fam. Why did I say that? Good night. Hey guys, it is day 4 of Lyra Fest and I am treating myself to not cycling into town. I was planning on getting the bus, but my makeup look took too long, and so Trey's giving me a lift. Today is the slam. I am hosting and running it, and weirdly nervous, even though I'm not the one being judged. Well, I kind of am though, aren't I? Anyway, yeah, really excited. Can't wait. Let's go! Honestly, I have no idea how this vlog is going to turn out. I don't even like vlogging. What am I doing?
So let me run you through day 4. I was so busy, I did not vlog at all, apart from on my way into town and on my way out. And as you'll see in a minute, I had many a beer. So I'm going to do a quick round of what happened. The afternoon sessions went great. I took the lead on this event with the team at Hammer and Tongue, but I'd done most of it, and when people weren't turning up, I was getting so nervous, but actually it was fine. Everyone was very chill about it. We had an amazing qualifying round with, I think 20 people took part in the end. And the host went really well, the space was wonderful, our judges were lovely, and my spreadsheet worked. I'd created a spreadsheet that added up all the scores, and that went really well. And I was like, so after the afternoon, I realised I hadn't eaten anything at all. It was panic stations. So me and Georgia and Tim, we went down to the bar at the Arnolfini. I had my sandwich and we had half a portion of chips, me and Georgia, and we had a beer. So around sort of 6 o'clock, I start getting ready to set up, and Olivia, our headliner, Olivia Gatwood, arrives, and we show her to the green room, but actually she's like, no, I kind of fancy a beer. So I show her to the bar where we've all been sitting, and she just comes and joins us and has a few beers, and everyone's chatting away and she's having a great time. And then I realise I've got all this other stuff to do, so I finish making the PowerPoint that gets projected on the back of the screen, like literally 20 minutes before the doors open. I'm there with my laptop in the bar like, ah! So I sort that, we make sure we got all the chairs out, we make sure the judges know where they're sitting, we've got the slammers stuff all reserved. I've given Georgia the spreadsheet so she can add up, and then we're hosting for over 200 people in the Arnolfini Theatre, and with Callum, one of my best poetry pals, and it just goes so well. Callum's like, I've got an idea about how we warm up the crowd. I've got this thing. We saw it at an event, and I was like, that's cool, because I am so nervous that if I try and be the hype guy, I'm going to shit my pants right now. So you do that. And he does it, and people are loving it. It becomes a little routine. We make all these jokes about the evaluation forms, because every event we need evaluation forms. And we mention it so many times that when the event finishes, people were queuing up to fill out the evaluation forms. That queue may have been confused for buying Olivia Gatwood's book and getting it signed by her, but I would also argue that it was definitely for the evaluation forms. And I think that event was the one that got the most forms filled out, so that's a little win for Hammer and Tongue right there. The event goes really well. The slam goes amazing. Congratulations to Cat Lyons, who was our winner for the Bristol Festival Slam 2019. And Olivia Gatwood's set was amazing. And afterwards, we all went out for a drink, and I maybe overindulged just a tiny bit. Here's what happened when I was waiting for the bus home.
Hey, it's me. It's the end of the slam. Wait, the slam ended ages ago. I've had a few beers. Ew. It went really well. I think I hosted it okay. God knows. Honestly, God knows. I have no idea. But we are waiting for a bus home. It'll be here any minute. And we are super happy. Aren't we, Trey? Yeah.
So day 5, I was struggle busing, but I did not cycle that day, not because I was hungover, but because I had to get to the quiz that evening. So day 5 was the walking tour, the open mic, and the closing lecture. So I'm there in town at midday for the walking tour, which I was convinced was at 1 o'clock when I went to bed the night before, but whatever. I get there. Trey gives me a lift in. Thanks, babe. And Danny takes one look at me and he's like, "You all right, babe?" And I'm like, "No, hon, I'm struggling." And he's there looking fresh as a daisy because he's so young and just doesn't get hungover. But we go on this tour and we used the Romantic Bristol app. So if you search Romantic Bristol, no, it's not like that, it's Romantic Poetry. And we walked down Park Street, down towards the cathedral, and then round back up towards Park Street, and then we ended in Berkeley Square. And this was incredible. This app must have taken so much work, but it is a map of Bristol with all these little points on it where you can read about the poets and the people that shaped Romanticism in Bristol. So there's all these different colours that mean different things, including like biographies of the people and where they lived and what they contributed to poetry in Bristol. And then they have hyperlinks in there, which you can click to just read the works that they did, because obviously Romanticism happened a little while ago and all of their stuff is out of copyright. So you can click on that and read the texts as you're walking around Bristol. There are also modern day poets who have written responses to Romantic poets' work, and that's listed on there. And then you've got these different ones. So you've got women and women writers, but the coolest thing, hands down, for me, the coolest thing about it was they had different maps. So you had different layers that you could pick to show the different maps of Bristol, so you could see what Bristol looked like in the 19th century. That blew my mind, and honestly my little fragile hangover brain could not handle it. So if you're in Bristol, check that out, Romantic Bristol. If you're a pal of mine, let's go for a walk and like do a little walking tour of our own and learn some more stuff.
Okay, so the walk is done. I am chilling in Berkeley Square waiting for the open mic to start at the Square Club, which is just over there. I have to say, this weather is helping with my pathetic hangover. I am feeling very fragile, and I'm just letting people know on Instagram what's happening whilst taking beautiful pictures of this beautiful park. Like, what's not to love?
So then it was the open mic and we were back at the Square Club. Tom Sastry was hosting it and he signed me up to the open mic. I did not sign up for it, but I told him to put me on the reserves list, and then he said, "Oh, I'm going to put you on last." So he gave us this 5-word poem challenge. This was my poem. "Throw the begonias in the furnace!" you screamed, and I, having googled begonias, thought this was a bit extreme. But you're talking in your sleep again and rolling the duvet into a cocoon on your side of the bed. You turned away from me and back to your burning begonias. I pretend not to be offended, slip myself around your cocoon and circle my arms, one under your pillow to meet the other at your chest, hands clutched over your heart to keep you safe from the flames. But knowing that the last event of the day was Anthony's lecture, I was the last open micer, which meant I was the last person to perform a poem at the festival. I was performing the last poem of Bristol Poetry Festival. And I can tell you that I finished on Spice World, the poem. You can see that on my video from Live at Visual Arts in Frome. You can watch me perform that one there. So then the open mic was over. We go to the Wills Memorial Building into their reception room for the lecture from Anthony Anaxaguru on poetry at the time of civil unrest. We had my good pal, my good Judy, Beth from Poetry Machine there, giving out free poems on her typewriter to people, and then they started the lecture. After 10 minutes I had to leave because I was hosting the quiz at the SU at UE and I had to run, so I didn't get to hear much of the lecture. But I have to say, Anthony, if you're watching, it was shaping up to be a good one, and hopefully I'll catch you doing it again somewhere else. But yeah, so I left. I went to the quiz. I hosted the quiz with the green team and it went really well, and then I was super tired, and then this is what happened.
Day 5 of a Lyra Fest done. So today has been crazy, especially after I may have slightly overindulged last night. I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling tired, and I'm feeling like I very, very much deserve a lie-in tomorrow. Lyra Fest has been so overwhelming and good and stressful and inspiring and all of the other things. I don't know how I'm going to collate my very fast vlogging into a video, but we'll see. Right now I'm just very much struggling to keep my eyes open, so good night.
So there you have it. That is how Lyra Fest went for me. It was great. I am still feeling inspired. I'm still feeling tired, and it was great. So thank you for watching this week's video. I'm sorry it's a day or so late, and I will see you next time. Please can you subscribe to my channel? I put out new videos every weekish, and please make sure you like this video. Thanks very much. Bye.